Hello everyone, welcome to Ecoholics YouTube channel. So today we are going to look at an interesting topic which is credit creation. So what is this credit creation is all about? So to understand credit creation, first we must have a background with respect to money and banking. So this is very important in money and banking. So in money and banking, obviously we would come across central bank and also commercial banks. So under commercial banks, one of the important function of the commercial bank is this credit creation process. So what is this credit creation? So do we mean that advancing loans is credit creation? No, not really. So advancing loans is part of credit creation process, but it does not entirely mean a credit creation. So what do we mean about the credit creation? So credit creation is the process by which the money supply of a country is increased, right? So this is the process that exclusively in the hands of commercial banks. So commercial banks is increasing the money supply of a country. So how does this commercial bank do? So if you take commercial banks, so commercial banks create the credit by advancing loans and purchasing securities. And they lend this money to individuals and businesses out of deposits accepted from the public. So they have already got the deposits. Out of this money they are lending. So why do we call this as a credit creation process? So we will understand that here. So if you take the credit creation process, two important factors is excess reserves and cash reserve ratio. So I'm sure you would already know what is cash reserve ratio. So this is the ratio at which the commercial banks are expected to park its funds with the RBI. So at present, if you look at it, the CRR is 4.5%. But here for this example, we are assuming that CRR is 10%. So let's understand this credit creation process. So initially, person A is depositing 1 lakh rupee with a commercial bank. So if you take a commercial bank, the commercial bank has to park its funds of about 10,000 rupees because here the CRR is 10%. So 10% of 1 lakh is 10,000, which cannot be lent by the commercial banks. It has to park it with the RBI. So the remaining 19,000, it is at its discrete. The remaining 90k, it's at the discrete of the commercial banks to lend. So these are its excess reserves that it is having. So this excess reserves, it can utilize it in whichever way possible, provided it is able to maximize its profits. So this 90,000, let's assume it is lending to another person, person B. So now the 90,000, it's been lent. So already the bank is having the 1 lakh, but out of this 1 lakh, 90,000 is going to person B. And the difference of the interest rates, right? So for the 1 lakh, whatever is being deposited, bank is going to pay interest to person A, and from person B, it is going to receive some interest, right? So the difference is what is the profits of the commercial banks. So this 90,000 is again going to come back to the commercial bank. Let's assume person B is routing all his transactions through the commercial bank. So when he is doing through the commercial bank, what happens? So again, this 90,000 comes as a deposit. So this 90,000, out of which again 10% should be parked as CRR. So which is 9,000. The remaining 81,000, again, it's at the discrete of the commercial bank to lend it because these are considered as excess reserves. And this 81,000, let's assume the commercial bank is lending to another person C. And that person is also routing all his transactions through the same commercial bank. So again, the commercial bank is receiving a deposit of 81,000. And out of which 8,100 is parked as CRR and the remaining amount has been again lent. So if you look at it, the same 1 lakh is traveling through so many persons, so many individuals. and it is creating a multiplier effect. So the money supply in the economy multiplies in this way. So that is why we exclusively tell this as a credit creation process and not just advancing loans. And if you look at this credit creation process, it is definitely dependent on the CRR. So it is based on this CRR, how much is there as excess reserve with the commercial bank to lend is what is decided. And based on that, the multiplier effect is calculated. So from this, we will understand about the money multiplier as well, right? So we will look into money multiplier maybe in any other class. So moving forward, two important aspects that needs to be looked at when this credit creation process is happening is two things. One is liquidity, another one is profitability. So liquidity for whom? For the sake of depositors. So this is that 1 lakh initially person A is depositing, and that is being given to person B and then person C and then person D. So all these people, if they are coming back and asking for their money, the commercial bank should be in a position to do that. So liquidity should be focused upon. That should be one of the objective. And another one is profitability. So commercial bank is actually advancing loans in this credit creation process for the profits, right? So profitability should also be looked at. So these are the two important aspects that needs to be concentrated upon during the credit creation process. But does it have any limitations? Of course, it has some limitations. What are they? It purely depends upon two things. One is the willingness of the commercial banks to use this excess reserves. If and only if the commercial bank is willing to use this excess reserves, right? In the credit creation process, you can expect the money supply to increase. If the banks are not willing to do so, then there is no scope for the money supply to increase. And the other one is regarding the withdrawal of funds by depositors. So if depositors are withdrawing their funds, right, immediately, then there is no scope for credit creation process. If person A is depositing 1 lakh and immediately he is withdrawing his funds, so that money cannot be lent to another person. Again, that money cannot be forwarded to another person. So then this credit creation process will not be happening. So this credit creation process helping in increasing the money supply purely depends on these two factors. So there are limitations. If any of this is not going in hand with the credit creation process, obviously the credit creation process will not be successful, right? So that is about the credit creation. So here money multiplier will also come into it. So money multiplier can be seen in another video. So that's it for the day. Thank you so much. So hope you like the video. If so, please do like, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you.